I'm male, 28. My stepsister, Mindy, female, 25, has always been a brat. She craves attention and absolutely loses it if other people are ahead of her in life. We were introduced to each other when I was 14 and she was 12, as that was when mom and my stepdad started dating seriously, and I was never able to gel with her. My stepdad is pretty cool though, and I have formed somewhat of a bond with him. Honestly, my relationship with Mindy deteriorated terribly in high school, and I gave up on forming any connection with her because of one major incident. My best bud, Josh, used to often come over after classes and hang out with me, and for some reason, this annoyed Mindy. She just didn't like seeing me enjoying myself, and in a very calculated way, she ended up dating Josh. My God, this dude was like whipped. But I knew the truth. She would casually just come in and tell me that she didn't care about him and was looking at a new guy, stuff like that. I warned him endlessly, but she poisoned him against me too by making up stuff about how I was a terrible sibling. Eventually, she ended up cheating on him, which led Josh into a massive depressive spiral. This was the final nail in the coffin for my relationship with Mindy. After college and moving out, things have become a lot easier since I don't have to live in the same space as her. Mindy's narcissistic behavior and terrible attitude have sprung her into dysfunctional relationship after dysfunctional relationship, while I've been dating the girl I met in college for over 7 years, Lex. Not Lufa, haha. In the spring of last year, I proposed to her and she happily accepted, and we were planning to get married after a year. When I broke the news to my family, everyone except Mindy was super happy for me. She made extremely bitchy comments and called me a basic and vanilla person for marrying my college sweetheart. She was also annoyed as she had been dating this guy, Gideon, for a little over a year, and it was the longest relationship she had been in and was expecting him to propose. The poor guy never really knew what to say from what I could make out. Like at a dinner after my engagement, she asked to see my ring and then literally glared at him and demanded, "So when am I getting one?" He just said, "We'll see, babe," awkwardly. I mean, I understand why he's hesitant to get married just after a year. Gideon is the son of a very influential media mogul and has quite a lot of money. Due to this, he wants to sign a prenup before getting married, but apparently Mindy is dead set against the idea. She considers a prenup to be a bad sign for a marriage as it implied a lack of trust. Complete BS, if you ask me. Hell, I make a bit less than Lex, and I was the one who suggested we have a prenup. Mindy's situation is a little different, though, as she barely works. She has some kind of Instagram affiliate marketing gig going on, but her lavish lifestyle is mostly funded by Gideon. When Lex and I had decided on dates, venues, flower arrangements, and what have you, the last biggest item was left, the guest list. Honestly, this was quite a challenge for both of us to sort out as we had limited space and what seemed like unlimited family. I had made an Excel sheet on my laptop with a list of my family and Lex's family, and both of us were kind of jostling to see how many people we could fit. Since my close family was a bit larger than hers, I thought I deserved little extra space, but she wanted it to be split 50-50. I understand that I was kind of an AH for demanding more space. No need for a post. So I apologize and we found equal space. Now, Mindy's work as an affiliate marketer was at a gift card and invite company, so I asked her if she could help me out with some nice invites for the guests. I sent her the final Excel sheet of all the guests and their addresses, and she obliged. I was surprised and hoped I could get this favor out of her and things would go well. However, a few days before our wedding, when guests started coming to the hotel we had booked, something was off. The number of people from my side of the family was much larger than the people on Lex's side. Like, it was not as if her parents were missing, but people who should have been on the list were a no-show. She was livid and was convinced I had done this on purpose. I genuinely had no idea how this had happened, but things were about to blow up. To keep things civil, we didn't fight, but on the morning of the wedding, Lex burst into tears and said she didn't feel ready to marry me. I was distraught and I didn't know what to do. Instead of a wedding taking place at the aisle, I got up there and publicly apologized to Lex's side of the family to try and make things right. I could see Lex peeking out from behind the door and walking towards me to make up. I mean, it took guts to beg and seek forgiveness from her family that was there. However, what saved my ass at that moment was Gideon standing up. He said that I wasn't to blame and began a long explanation that was wild. He said that he had often heard Mindy complain about my wedding and berate him for not giving her her wedding. And she said that she would get back at me somehow. When she got access to my guest list, Gideon saw her making changes to the guest list, but she lied and told him that I had given her permission. Then she added our family members and sent invites to their addresses. Gideon then drops another bombshell. Mindy, I knew you could be a little grating at times, but I was willing to work past it at first. But I stopped trying fast. I know you've been cheating on me, and well, I gotta tell you, knowing that you lied today makes the next words out of my mouth much easier to say. I'd found someone else too. I just kept you as my side piece. Everyone in that room audibly gasped. Lex, from the door, and Mindy burst into tears. Attempting to hit Gideon, she had to then be forcibly removed from the venue, and Gideon gave me an awkward, sorry for ruining your day shrug and left. I didn't know what to feel about this. This dude had vindicated me, but also mic dropped that he cheated on my stepsis in the same breath. To be fair, she had too, like I said, dysfunctional. Naturally, no matter what, the wedding wasn't going to happen that day. We apologized to everyone and came back home. Lex apologized for not trusting me, and I guess we'll have to get married later. Gideon and Mindy broke up, of course, and she's a mess right now. However, I've made it clear to everyone that when I do eventually get married to Lex, Mindy isn't invited, and some people in the family are raising a stink about it. They feel like it was an act of immaturity on her part, and I need to be the bigger man and let her come, especially since she's in a terrible place right now. Update 1. A month had passed since our almost wedding, and somehow the fight Lex and I had about the wedding guest list has been leaked. Both our families know about it now, but the response has been surprisingly positive. People are chipping in to help us book a larger venue for our wedding so that we can invite as many people as we want, like cousins and nonas. Everyone is giving what they can, and that's really sweet. This may end up being the world's first crowdfunding wedding. LOL. An update on Mindy. She tried to justify her cheating as a mistake and claimed that she did love Gideon and that's why she wanted to get married to him so badly. She then tried to attack me by saying that I was rubbing my wedding in her face. She said that it caused her a lot of stress and forced her to act out, and I needed to apologize to her. Also, she's trying to get herself re-invited to the wedding and says that she won't be involved in any of the planning to keep my mind at ease. But I'm just worried she'll do something like show up in a white dress. Thankfully, both Mom and my stepdad shut her down quickly and said that if anything, she should apologize to me. Of course, she hasn't done that yet. She's also moved back in with Mom and Dad because she was living with Gideon before. Update 2. New wedding date is just a month away. Excited, 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 but the Mindy question has been answered for us. Mindy will be serving community service on the day of the wedding because she stalked Gideon and his new girlfriend to a restaurant and tried to set the chick's hair on fire. Obviously, she pressed charges, but Mom and Dad ended up paying for bail and speaking to the girl to get the punishment lessened. Of course, the fact that Mindy didn't set her hair on fire was also a positive factor. There's not anyone in the family who supports her anymore after that incident, LOL, but everyone is excited about the wedding. Gideon also messaged me recently thanking me for making that public apology as it allowed him to piece everything together. I don't really know what to feel about this guy since he did still cheat on someone. But we still talk about the almost wedding at parties. Sometimes we open up this post and look at the funnier comments too. Update 3. OP is now married. The ceremony went completely smoothly. Both our prominent fat families were there, and everything sailed by super smoothly. Mindy wasn't too disruptive because the only interaction we had with her was through a video call, although she did still manage to make snarky comments about the decor in that 5-minute time frame. To be honest, I don't care. I'm excited to start an amazing life with Lex, and this whole story can finally be laid to rest. NTA, your sister is overkill. I wouldn't be surprised if the only reason she was with Gideon was for his wallet anyways. Edit. Wow, she tried to set someone's hair on fire? I know I've been reading this post for entertainment, but please ask her to get help, OP. NTA, you got your ass saved at the last moment by Gideon. I'm sure the matter could have resolved itself even without that, but that act did have a silver lining because your family ended up knowing about the space situation, and you got to invite everyone, right? Next story. I, 27, female, have been dating my boyfriend, 28, male, for a little over 2 years now, and I'm 7 months pregnant. Last week we went to his sister's wedding. I'm not super close with most of his family, but we grew up in the same town, so I knew a lot of the people who were at the wedding. I haven't told a lot of people about my pregnancy. I've had a lot of anxiety about miscarrying throughout it, so we decided to only tell close friends and family. And when I post on any social media, I wear baggy clothes and pose so that my bump is hidden. I wore a loose-fitting dress to the wedding, but it was still very obvious I was pregnant. Because I've been keeping my pregnancy pretty hidden, it was a lot of people's first time seeing me pregnant, and I had people coming up to me pretty much all night congratulating me. I could tell his sister was upset about it, so I tried to downplay it when people came over, but there wasn't much I could do about it. The day after the wedding, my boyfriend's mom called him pissed off that I wouldn't say anything to people beforehand because I took the attention away from his sister all night. I feel bad for his sister, but I don't think I should have to make a pregnancy announcement before I'm ready. And I am not sure how I could have told people beforehand, aside from calling up the entire guest list, which is just ridiculous. My boyfriend is on my side, but his mom, sister, and apparently a lot of his other family, meme her, are upset with me. AITA? Edit. To clarify, the bride knew. Everyone's immediate family knew about it, and close friends knew about it. My boyfriend and I grew up in the same town, went to the same high school, but didn't start dating or even really become friends until after we graduated college. A lot of the wedding guests knew us, but we hadn't seen them in years. Most of them do follow me on social media, though, because we all went to school together. The reason we didn't announce it on social media is because my boyfriend and I have a few thousand followers on Instagram combined, and there were maybe 100 people at this wedding who knew us enough to be shocked, but we weren't close enough to tell. I didn't think about posting beforehand, but even now, looking back, I wouldn't tell 2,000 plus people on social media, just so the 100 at this wedding would know specifically. My boyfriend and I live far enough away from our hometown where running into people and them seeing me pregnant is an issue. I'm not going to make a full announcement until the baby is born. We were keeping it really secret until it made 20 weeks. Only immediate family and a few friends knew. And since then, it's been more like we haven't been going out of our way to tell people. This expectation that people notice absolutely nothing in the world aside from the bride for the entire day, because let's face it, no one ever cares if the groom gets attention, is ridiculous. The bride can't be talking to everyone at once, but apparently, when she's not talking to people, they should all be staring adoringly at her and whispering to each other about how wonderful she is. NTA, it's not like you made a big announcement. She invited you and you just existed as a pregnant person. If she can't handle your existence at the expense of her fragile little ego, why did she let you come to start with? NTA, why should it be your responsibility to notify every single person on your boyfriend's sister's guest list that you're expecting? There are no rules that you must disclose every major life event happening to you before someone's wedding. It's not like you stood up and shouted it from the rooftops during her reception. You went out of your way to hide it. Your body. You decide what you do with it and who you tell about it. NTA, you don't owe anyone a pregnancy announcement. You didn't turn the wedding into an impromptu baby shower. People notice by themselves, despite loose dress. So what? I could 100% see their point if you picked up the mic and made a huge announcement. It'd be disruptive and attention-stealing. I see no reason for them to be mad for you just existing while being pregnant. Next story. I, 31, female, live in Brussels with my husband, 30, male, Leo. Leo has a brother, Ollie, 34, male, who's married to Sarah, 34, female, who also lives in Brussels. Sarah is from an English-speaking country and has never bothered to learn French, the language our husbands and their family speak, even though she's lived in Brussels for 7 or 8 years now. She says things like, "Everyone here speaks English, so I don't need to," or "I know how to say a coffee, that's all I need." Frankly, she can do whatever she wants, but our husband's parents don't speak English, so whenever we spend time with them, which is quite often, we have dinner there more or less every Friday. The conversation needs to be translated. For some reason, this now always falls on me. I'm also from an Anglophone country, but my dad is French. I didn't mind at first, but she's lived here 8 years. She's married to a Belgian man, and she's never bothered to learn so that she can speak to his parents directly. I find it annoying that it always falls on me if her husband isn't there, because the rest of the siblings, they have another brother and another sister, find it irritating that she's never made an effort and just don't bother translating anymore. Last week, I was trying to speak to my mother-in-law about something quite personal. My husband and I are trying for children, and it's been hard. And Sarah kept asking me to translate for her. It was really starting to annoy me, especially as it was a sensitive conversation, and translating it was quite painful. So when we left, I told her that I wasn't going to be the go-between for her anymore. I told her that she lives here and that if she wants to speak to his family, she's going to have to put in some effort to learn the language. Edit. Sorry, I forgot to add. After this happened, she was apparently in tears with her husband that night, and now both of them are upset with me. They're refusing to come to any more family dinners unless I apologize. AITA? NTA, but I feel like you have to effortlessly try to not pick anything up in 7 years. I had this employee once who didn't speak a word of English. He spoke Serbian, I think, or whatever that language is called. No one in the workplace spoke a word of his language either. How he got hired isn't really relevant here. Within a month, we learned to communicate efficiently without knowing each other's language, and within 6 months, we could have small, simple conversations. I know it's weird to think of communication without words being a thing, but we rely so much on language. But it's absolutely a thing, and it doesn't take that long to grow a communication system between two people. So when I say she had to put in the effort to not communicate with the family, I mean it. That, or she's neurodivergent and can absolutely not pick up on any non-language cues. I think she needs to bring along her own translator so the family can enjoy their personal family time together. Time to announce to all the need to know that translating is over. It takes away from your own enjoyment, and I don't think that everybody should stop and pause speaking until she is caught up with conversations. NTA. Their loss if a no-show to dinners. Can apologize as in sorry, but will not be taking on that task anymore. It is a task, aka job. NTA. It's not as if she just moved to a foreign place with a different language, but she has been there for more than 7 years. That's enough time to at least know the basics and hold a conversation. I understand how frustrating it is to translate everything to someone who does not know the language, even though they've been living in that place for years. Stay tuned for more stories from our girl relationships.